bright and early. All right, so 6 months ago when Dana and I began planning this conference, it was hard to imagine this, that so many people would show up. But you did, and you didn't just show up. You submitted some excellent papers. We were very, very excited to see the talks and discussions that were taking place yesterday. Just walking through all of the breaks, I was really excited to see all of the communication that was happening between so many different parties. And, you know, I'm always the pessimist, so I imagine we're going to need, I don't know, twice as many reviewers next year. Given the number of research papers, I imagine you guys wrote over cocktails last night. In order to give you a bit of a sense of who's here, who your co-registrants are, we have a little bit of information, but I want to start by, again, thanking our committees. We couldn't have done this without the people who are so responsible for all of the organizational work. So please find these people, thank them for their hard work. Thank all of the track chairs who did so much to make sure that the technical program that we have here today and yesterday were so phenomenal. And again, we couldn't have done this without the financial support of so many sponsors who were able to help us with so much of the scholarship that we were able to provide. In order to give you some sense of who was here, the number of total participants we had in terms of people who registered were 562. That includes 313 people from the academy, 19 from government, 146 from industry, 62 from nonprofit, and 15 who identified as other. 222 identified as female, 291 as male, 9 is non-binary, and the rest preferred not to answer. And I don't know about you, but that is by far the most balanced CS conference I have ever been to. Okay. And just in the nick of time, I managed to produce one graphic. And this graphic just shows the locations of the affiliations of people who registered for FATSTAR 2019. And I'm pretty excited about this, too. So hopefully we can only make more progress on this in the future. So we also were able to offer 83 scholarships even before subsidizing volunteers' registration. Attendees offered almost $6,000 above and beyond, that's you guys, above and beyond their registration to help support other attendees.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additionally, our sponsors helped make this and many other aspects of the conference possible through their generous donations. Thank you DeepMind, Google, Microsoft, Spotify, and Twitter for sponsoring our conference. And thank you to the Ethics and Governance of AI Initiative, Ford Foundation, Luminate, the MacArthur Foundation, Open Society Foundations, and the Smith Futures for additional support.
So before we turn to our morning keynote and technical program, I have announcements. I think you're used to me having announcements by now. So once again, our event will actually be live streamed. I strongly encourage you to reach out to people in the community who aren't able to be with us here today. Let them know about the live stream. Please also feel free to tune in to the conversations that are happening on Twitter and Slack. And I want to be especially grateful to the folks who've been asking questions on Slack. I know sometimes it's not easy to ask questions in this format, and people sort of reaching out and saying things is great. I've also been really amazed by some of the presenters who've reached out to people who have had questions and really interacted with them. And I want to sort of say to all of the presenters here, because people don't always feel comfortable asking on these big podium mics, join Slack and actually answer some of the questions. I think people will be really, really grateful, whether right after your session or even after Atlanta. I also want to remind everybody about today's town hall. I know how hard it is to leave amazing lunch conversations and come back to the ballroom, but we're really hoping to involve as much of the community as possible. And I know that the executive committee in particular really wants to see the opportunity of having a group conversation about some of the things that the EC has been grappling with. So there will be many important conversations, including the strategic plan of the future of this conference in the community, questions about the name of the conference, and next year's location. And hint, it is in Europe. So that will all be discussed at Town Hall. Finally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up, for engaging, for helping build this community. This didn't happen accidentally. This happened because of a lot of hard work of a lot of people, and many of those people are in this room. So I want to say thank you to all of the volunteers who've showed up at ridiculously early hours to make certain that everything was ready to go so that you would have as smooth of a conference as possible. Once again, I want to thank Melia Penagos for making all of this happen. Like, the tremendous work that she has done for this conference is really unbelievable. And 2 days ago, I was talking with Solon Barocas, who was the general chair last year. And he said to me, he's like, this is so surreal to see it in a conference hotel, like having a conference in a hotel. He's like, I think it might be real. And I was like, yeah, I think this actually might be real. And so I want you to sort of take that moment and realize that the hard work that you've been doing, the passion that you've been putting into these topics as researchers, as industry practitioners, as people who care about all sorts of affected communities, there's so much potential. But it's just like, let's take a moment to actually really think about how far we've come in how short of a period of time. And I want to say thank you to all of you, because seriously, this requires a group round of applause. All of you have put in work to make this happen, so thank you.